Hey guys, in this video I want to talk about learning Chinese and the utility of being able to speak a different language. If you're living in China, working in China, or have Chinese friends, learning Chinese is very helpful. Obviously, because it's in China, it can help you a lot in situations such as communication at work. Um, if you need to talk with your coworkers, you can being able to speak Chinese makes it a lot easier. And also with making phone calls, that's something that is is almost impossible to do if you cannot speak Chinese here. You will not be able to reliably make phone calls because it's going to be the language barrier is hard to breach. And also asking for directions. If you're able to speak Chinese, asking for directions is is a lot easier to speak it um, rather than using like your phone or a translator app and constantly having to go back and forth. If you're able to just speak what you want to say, it makes it 100 times easier. And also being able to speak Chinese is good for fostering friendships, relationships, getting to know people more who cannot speak English. That's common. If someone here cannot speak English and you know how to speak Chinese, it makes getting to know them and communications so much easier. And also, it's also good for meeting new people. So if you're out and about each day, meeting new people, different interactions, learning Chinese, or knowing Mandarin is very very helpful. So for foreigners who are learning Chinese, there is a system called HSK, and it has about 6 levels, 1 to 6. Although I think there was a recent update where it has 9 levels, but the one that the version I'm using right now has 6 levels. So 1 to 2 is beginner, 3 to 4 is intermediate, and 5 to 6 is advanced. So if you are in the HSK, if you're using the HSK system to learn Chinese, obviously you'd start at 1 to 2. That's basic understanding of the language. Right now, I personally am at level 3, which is not it's not the best. It's not very good. It's middle level, so I can understand, and I can speak uh, passable Chinese. I guess you could say. So that's where I'm at now. Levels 3 and 4. Then advanced is your Chinese at that point will be pretty good. So if you're wondering and how to start um, learning HSK, I would recommend. I mean, if you're wondering on where to start learning Mandarin using the HSK system, I would recommend that you start online or use an app. The first one that comes to mind is Pimsleur. I think it takes you from HSK 1 to 3 around there in spoken Chinese. So if you do a if you do a quick search online for Pimsleur, Pimsleur, you'll see that it's a language. It's a language learning it's a company that offers language courses, and for their Mandarin course, I think it's very helpful for spoken Chinese. So that is what I use. That is one of the first learning resources that I used whenever I was beginning to learn Chinese. Another good app that I really like to use is Hello Chinese. Um, if you can search for that app on the App Store on your phone. It's called Hello Chinese. They help you a lot with Chinese grammar and new vocabulary. So I think that Pimsleur for spoken Chinese and Hello Chinese for, I guess, vocabulary and grammar. If you finish those two courses, I think that you have a decent Mandarin background. So I guess the second step after that that you could take would be to take classes, take Mandarin classes at your local college or library or any learning center that offers Chinese classes. If you're able to do a few semesters in those classes and get used to practicing to speak Chinese, I think that that would be very helpful to learning. And for I guess a third step would be to would be to get a Chinese tutor. You could get a Chinese tutor online, or if you happen to know of any places that offer a Chinese tutor one on one, I would also highly suggest that. I have been doing that for a year and a half now, while I have been living in China. So if you are back in the States or if you are in China, I would highly recommend that you invest in a Chinese tutor. They can help you a lot to practice your spoken Chinese, your Chinese reading, um, your Chinese listening, your Chinese writing with either Chinese characters or pinyin. Pinyin is I guess, the Romanized form of Chinese, and then the Hanzi would be the Chinese character. So you can practice different aspects: spoken, reading, listening, writing. Having a tutor would definitely helps to hone hone your Mandarin ability over time. And you can also try different ones. You don't necessarily have to stick with the first tutor that you try. You can just maybe try a few and see which one's teaching style is the best for your kind of learning. But I think that having a tutor helps to helps to give you motivation, daily, not daily, weekly chickens to make sure that you're keeping on track and make sure that you are improving in your language learning. I'd also highly recommend that you make Chinese friends in your path to learning Chinese. Obviously, having Chinese friends is very helpful. They can help you a lot to practice your Chinese and make suggestions or help you to make corrections in your I guess vocabulary, your usage of tones. Um, yeah, I would say like having Chinese friends is very good. If you live in China, they're easy to make, but if you live back in I guess another country, um, I guess joining language clubs at universities might have some exchange students from China there. So just if you can, if you have the opportunity, I would highly recommend that you meet Chinese people and make friends. So I just want you to know that learning Chinese is not a quick process. It's actually a slow process. And if you are very diligent and practice frequently, you can be, I would say that you can become very conversational in about 2 years. I would think about 2 years if you are very diligent with your practice. But if you take learning Chinese more casually, more like a hobby, I would say it would take longer, maybe between 3 to 5 years before you can speak it very easily. So it just depends on what your personal goals are, whichever method is best for you. But if you are very serious very diligent, very disciplined. It'll take you a shorter time, but it will still take quite a while. So look at about 2 years. But if it's more of a casual pursuit for you, then it will take much longer. So thank you again for listening to my video and tuning in. I appreciate I appreciate your support, and I will see you guys soon.